We'll
You're gonna find out today.
find out.
I'm looking at Isaac's Facebook pictures of him on vacation, looking very strong while he's a participant here. You're looking good, looking good.
Okay. It looks like Isaac has joined and Barbara. Welcome, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom.
He just sent me a message. I can see you and hear you.
Perfect. Now you have to watch what you say, Jason. We're gonna get started here in just a few minutes. So welcome. And you should have a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen if you want to ask any questions. We'll be doing a Q&A a little bit later, so feel free to type it in there. All right. It looks like we are successfully broadcasting to YouTube. So we're going live on YouTube,
Okay.
which is great. And- Okay. While we're waiting, why don't Jason, why don't you tell us where you're zooming in from?
I am zooming in from Austin, Texas. Basically Round Rock, right outside of Austin. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'm you're representing the south, the southern border. I'm up close to the northern border, so I'm in Idaho up at the top, and we like to say North Idaho, which is distinctively different from the rest of Idaho. I haven't seen a potato farm anywhere around here. We've got pine trees and mountains and a little bit of heaven up here. So, yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
All right, well,
I
we got more
just
people coming on in, so we can wait a few minutes for some more people to show up, or we can get started, whenever you're ready.
you know what? It's 5:30. I say let's just get started. Plus we have the option of them reviewing it after it's over. So um hello everybody. I am Jason Timmons. I am the president of the Man in Me. We are an organization that assists fathers and men in all general, but helping them cultivate into becoming better men and reaching out to all of their families and just making better families, right? By making better men or helping them grow. This is I would like to introduce Troy, and you can introduce yourself
Sure.
here.
I'm Troy Oldson. I'm the founder of an organization, a nonprofit called discoverfamily.net. You can easily find us, of course, at discoverfamily.net online. We are an organization that helps families get connected. So what that looks like is our team has helped hundreds of people to find their birth parents. That could be somebody who's adopted. Most of the people we help are actually trying to find their birth father. And yeah, we use all kinds of cool technology we'll be talking about and cool approaches that have helped us to help a lot of people. So got connected with you guys, the man and me, and it just man, we're just pulling the same direction. So really grateful to be here.
So Today, basically, what we're going to do here is we're going to speak about. You're going to hear some stories about what it's like to grow up fatherless. You're going to hear stories about connecting with biological parents. Um, we're going to go over what DNA looks like. Troy's going to give you expert DNA analysis and just take you through the process and those steps. I'm going to share my own personal story because I grew up fatherless myself. So and this, please bear with me. This is going to be the very first time I've ever shared my story with an audience in over 40 years. So um, I'm really excited and I'm really grateful and thankful that you all are here. Um, yeah. So like Troy said, we have the Q&A at the very bottom. If you need to provide any questions or you have any questions based on anything that we're saying, please just ask them in the Q&A. And we are live recording and streaming on multiple channels right now, so I'm very excited about that. Mhm. All right, you ready?
I'm ready. Is that my cue?
Yeah, let's go ahead and yeah, that's your cue.
Great. All right. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about discoverfamily.net and our mission and what we do. And for me, it always begins with Jenny's story. So Jenny is the first person that I ever helped, along with my mom. So I just love to kind of tell you that story and explain along the way how we were able to help Jenny actually find both of her biological parents. So it all starts out, a lot of these stories start out with a DNA test. Ancestry DNA offers these DNA kits that you can order. They're actually on sale right now. We're going to be giving out a free DNA kit to one of the people who signed up for our webinar today. So it's a little kit, it comes in the mail. You submit a sample. In this case, with Ancestry, it's a little bit of spit into a tube. You ship it back to them. From the DNA that's in the cells in your mouth, they are able to come up with a profile and tell you a lot of things about where you've come from and who you're related to and other things like that. So my parents took a DNA test and with Ancestry and got the results back. And a couple months later, um, on my dad's DNA test, he got a message from this woman named Jenny, and Jenny said that she did a DNA test, and my dad came back as in the third cousin range with her. She was adopted, and she was trying to figure out who her birth parents were and looking for help. My mom sent me this message and said, "Hey, knowing that I do like online investigation and things like that. I just love Sherlock Holmes and I love things just like this. So she said, "Hey, should we help her out? Do you want to help?" And I said, "Yeah, let's do this. Let's jump in." From the day that she emailed us, which was May 28th of 2018, it was actually exactly 30 days later, 1 month later, that I was able to reach out to her birth mom and have the first conversation with her birth mom after we'd solved the case. So basically, when you do a DNA test, there's quite a few things that happen. You get to see kind of ancestry, where you're from, and usually for people, it's from kind of all different places. But for us as search angels, as people that help people find their birth family, what's most important to us is the matches, meaning other people who have taken a DNA test and how closely you're related to them. So this is just an example. This is actually from my son. We've got 4 kids, all adopted, and this is a DNA test from my son. This shows people that he is genetically related to, and a couple of things we look at. The centimorgans, you can see this first match. He shares 1,808 centimorgans with that person. And that helps us understand how closely that that he is related to that person. We take these numbers, the 1800 centimorgans, and then we go to what's called a centimorgan chart, and we're able to eliminate all the possible relationships. So if the self is right here, kind of in the middle, based on how many centimorgans, you can see what possible relationships you have to that person. So we're able to take all the different matches, and in some cases, it might be a pretty distant match, like a second cousin or even further. In the case of Jenny and my dad, he was actually a third cousin range. So we're able to look at all the different DNA matches, and then we build out family trees for those different people, and we can start to see where those family trees connect, and then we figure out where the person we're helping fits into that tree, and hopefully from that we can figure out who their birth parent is or the person that we're looking for. Here's a picture of Jenny and my dad the first time we got to meet. They shared only 106 centimorgans across 5 segments, but what's really important is that 106 centimorgans. So um, with those matches, again, we're able to go in and then see, you can see Candace here, for example, has a big family tree. She's built out a family tree of like 719 people. So that's what we really like to see is the centimorgans being high, the family trees. In some cases, limited cases, we've solved cases in like literally like 20 minutes. I think 20 minutes is our record.
Wow.
Sometimes it can take days or even weeks to solve a case as we have to build out the family tree. And sometimes we're building out these enormous trees. The other day I saw a family tree that we had built. Lori, one of our search angels, had built, and it was over 600 people. So imagine just building out these enormous family trees, figuring out how they all fit together, and then figuring out where the person that we're helping fits into those family trees. So
Wow.
with Jenny, we actually also got, because she was adopted, she got what's called non-identifying information. So this is information about her birth parents that gives height, some insights there, information about allergies or medical history and things like that. But it doesn't have any information about their names or who they are, just non-identifying information. So that's kind of how we went at this. We had our DNA, we knew who her matches were, started building out family trees, and at this point, my mom and I we didn't even know what a search angel was. We didn't know that there were people out there doing this kind of work. Um, and I do online research. I do digital marketing and online research for my day job. So we were actually able, with some of that information, to determine that this woman that we were looking for the birth mom kind of first as a priority. That she went to a certain high school, and her picture is actually on this page. Pretty exciting. At the time we found the yearbook, we didn't know exactly who she was, but it was great to be able to go out and do that online research, back it up with the DNA to start finding the person that we were looking for. And so many times it's in the little details. And in the case of Jenny's case, the non-identifying information said that one of her grandparents had been a county clerk. And a county clerk, that's not very common, you know. Every county has a clerk, and sometimes those clerks can serve for years and years and years. So we knew that was one of those potentially really important details, that if we could build out this family and figure out what county and what at the time of her birth, who was the clerk, that might help us break the case. And um, through some really cool experiences, I won't share all of them right now, but we were able to narrow in on who we believed her maternal grandmother would be. So this would be her grandma on her mother's side, and we were able to find her headstone through a database called Find a Grave. And thankfully, the back of the headstone was also there, and we could see the list of names. And what was really cool was the number of children matched up perfectly with the non-identifying information. So we knew that we'd found the right family and the right person, and we knew where she fit in. Um, so we found birth mom, and I like to talk about the phone call, making that first phone call. So the first phone call was actually we couldn't find her phone number, but we had built out this family tree and we knew different people who knew her. So I believe I called her father or maybe it was uncle. Um,
Mhm.
and I love talking to old people because they just love to talk and they're just glad when anyone calls them and they're glad it's not a what do you call it? Like a um, telemarketer. So I talked with him briefly, told him I was doing family research, helping someone, and I was trying to get a hold of so and so who was related to him. And he's like, "Oh, do you need her number?" And I said, "Yeah, that'd be great." So he went and got her number, and that's how I got her phone number. So then the actual phone call was pretty amazing. I texted her ahead of time, explained who I was in the text, and said, I'd love to talk, and got on that phone call with her. She was able to confirm that. I loved how she said it. She's like, "Yeah, I remember that. I remember having that baby," and then was able to just confirm that she was open to talking with Jenny. And I took that message and the phone number and gave it to Jenny. And within 24 hours, they were having their first conversation. And a short time later, Jenny sent me this picture, which was, and sorry, I get kind of emotional, but the first time they met, or what I thought was the first time that they met, because later she also sent me this picture, which is actually the first time that they had ever met. Um, just a really beautiful experience. We were also able to connect her with her birth father, where she was able to have a connection and a conversation with him. Um, Here's the first picture together. And I love one of my favorite things to do is get the high school pictures. And they've had some adventures together also. But I love getting the high school pictures because they're usually like approximately the same age. So we're able uh, to see that. I love the side-by-side pictures. And on the first Christmas since they'd been reconnected, one of the things that Jenny always wanted to know was, what was my name when I was born? What did they call me? And come to find out, there were these little baby booties that they would hang on their Christmas tree every year. So they'd always remember her. And that was her Christmas gift from her mom, was these little baby shoes that had her birth date on it and the name of what they called her when she was originally born before she was adopted. So super cool story. What I love to think about is, Jenny, when she was emailing literally hundreds of people when she got the DNA test and was trying to connect with the family and figure out where she was from and who her birth parents were, she did not know her family tree. Like if you drew her family tree, it would be just like her name. But then after we were able to solve the case, this family tree just explodes and you're able to see like where she fits in and get so much history on both sides. And I've only expanded like one part of the tree right there. There's This is even a bigger tree than you can imagine. So what is our mission at discoverfamily.net? Um, After that search with Jenny, I wanted to know how many people are like Jenny, how many people need help, how many people want to find their birth family, want to find birth dad, and don't know how to do it. So, being a digital marketing person, I went to a tool that Google has, and I started searching up keywords like this, like find my dad, find my birth family, how to find an adopted sibling, biological parents. When I pulled up these keywords and the volume just in the United States, just in 1 month, there were over 20,000 people searching these types of keywords, trying to find out who they were, just desperate and not knowing where to go. And I just, that moment like changed my life because I knew that I could help those people. And that has become the mission. We have grown. We've got a team of volunteers now that help people. All total, if you count all the cases that have been solved before they joined the team and now that they're on the team, but we're well over 500 people that we've helped find their birth parents. So to say it really simply, to help as many people as possible find their missing or unknown family members is our mission. I flew with a film crew down to Tampa, Florida, and we did a TV pilot. It's called Search Angels, the series. If you go to the website searchangels.tv, you can watch it. There's also a link on discoverfamily.net where you can come watch our TV pilot. This is when we meet Emily down in Tampa. We helped Emily find her birth parents as well. So if you get a chance, definitely check it out. We're hoping to do a whole TV series showing not only the people that we're helping and sharing those cases and those stories, but also show you the search angels, these people who are just volunteering their time to help as many people as possible. So I love, love, love this picture. All these pictures. These are pictures of people that we've helped. So to call out a couple, Kim and Chuck up in towards the top left corner. We helped Kim find her birth father. Next to that is Kristen and her birth dad, Troy. Tiffany, you can see with her dad. That's an amazing story. We've got a podcast episode about that, but just so many compelling, amazing stories, just life-changing stories, is what we're trying to do, and we're just willing to help as many people as possible. There's my email address, troy@discoverfamily.net. So that's a little bit about our background. Love to turn it over to you, Jason, and tell us your experience working with Discover Family, having your own discovery.
Can I begin by just sitting with myself and having the feeling, right? Like I was one of those people that searched for those keyword phrases. So I'm having to realize that it's just so much connection and so much impact that you guys do. So I just want to say thank you for everything that you all do. Um, my own personal story has been a very long journey for me. I grew up without a father, and I also had my third oldest brother's dad's last name growing up. For most people, that might be simple, but I'm really trying to build a legacy here, and that was one of the most important things, like to impact my life. That I was writing down the last name Bearfield everywhere that I went, and I knew that it wasn't my father. Um, Growing up, I would ask my mom what was my dad's name. I'm going to get to the point of this, but she used to tell me his name was Michael Shelton. So all my life, I was on this journey to find a guy named Michael Shelton. I'm speaking to cousins, aunts. I have a very small family. Where everybody is displaced throughout Texas, and we were the only ones in Austin. So I didn't really grow up with my family as well. Um, so growing up for me without a father, there was, I would like to tell this story. There was this one thing that always used to bug me, but I created it. So we would make jokes, and whenever I could not, me and my best friends, we would make jokes, and whenever I could not like join in on the jokes because they had dads, I would always say, "I ain't got no daddy," and then we would laugh. It would be funny, and everything was fine up until just recently meeting you when the joke came, and I hadn't told them the story of me meeting you and your organization, and I was able to say I have a father. That slowed everything down. No one was laughing, and there was hugs. So let me tell you about the journey to find my dad. um it was 2 years ago, and my my life partner Jasmine, she purchased me Ancestry for my birthday, and I was so excited. I was so excited. She knew how much it meant for me to find my father. So once I got on Ancestry, I hit the ground running. I typed in my mom's information, and I filled this whole right side for my maternal back to the 1700s. And I was so excited, but it was still empty. The paternal side was blank, it was empty, and that was bugging me. Um, Ancestry was telling me who my cousins were, and I was reaching out to them, but I didn't know what it meant on an actual like birth chart. So I'm reaching out to them. They're responding. They're saying, I don't know no Michael Shelton because I'm still looking for this Michael Shelton. Um, and and I'm seeing people who look like me for the first time. I'm going through their ancestry, and I'm seeing a guy who has my face, and I'm weirded out. And I'm having all these emotions, and then one day, I used that keyword search, and discoverfamily.net showed up, and so I reached out, and it was just for me. I was like, if they can help, they can help. If they can't, they can't. Boy, did they help. so 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 for my birthday, so actually it was in February. Discover Family was able to provide me with all the information. And I don't even want to like fast forward too quick because it was so enduring every single step of the way. When I reached out and said, "Hey, this is who that I'm looking for my birth father," their response was so genuine. They really treated me like as if I was a part of the family, right? And they started providing me with results. And the next thing you know, I have this big packet, and I now know who my great grandmother is, who my great grandfather is. There's newspaper clippings showing the background for who my uncles are, and we still don't know who my father is yet. But now I know like who my aunt is and all of those. Um, Up until the point where we're now able to decide it's within three individuals. And it became really, really easy for me because two of them had never been to Texas. um, so, so they also provided the Facebook of each of the individuals. So I reached out to who is now my first cousin, my uncle, um, my aunt, and my I receive now they start working within the family and they're trying to figure out who my dad is. But I have already determined who it is because there was only one that's been to Texas. So then I send them a message, this long message, and I'm letting them know, hey, I believe my dad is Marion Timmons. I have a name. My dad has a name. It's not Michael Shelton. They were able to provide me with the fact that my dad's name was Marion Timmons. Um, and my brother calls me. I now have a new half brother who is 60 years old, and I'm looking at this name on my phone and I'm freaking out. I am jittery. I am it just filled with emotions. And the very first words that he tells me is, "Hey, what's going on, little brother?" And I can't tell you how that felt. Um, I asked him if he wanted to do a DNA test, and he said, "Nah, I know you, my little brother." Um, so after that moment, about a year later, my spouse, Jasmine, for my birthday, picks me up and she flies me to Miami. I've never been to Miami before. This is my very first time. I'm really excited. I've been all over Florida, but I've never been to Miami, just to find out that Miami was the birthplace of where for my father. Um, and then she tells me, don't think too much, don't just allow me to just take you wherever I'm taking you, just let it flow. So she takes me to my to a home 2 hours away. She walks me to the front door. I'm still like, I'm not gonna overthink this. I don't know where I'm going. Let's see what happens here. And opens the door, and it's my uncle. Um, it's my uncle and his wife, and now my little baby, their little dog Gracie. And this is my very first time meeting someone on my father's side. As a part of the story, my father is deceased. Um, and just before I had the opportunity, my aunt is now deceased. And this is my very last uncle. He's given me all the stories of who my father is. He loaded me with a photo album full of photos. And and I have I'm receiving closure to what I've always wanted. I had in my lifetime, I had a bunch of men that were in my life that were not consistent, or they might have failed me in some type of way. I was able to embrace the simple fact that like my uncle calls me almost every day just to check in on me. He calls me. Um, my brother came the next day. We sat down, we had breakfast. I received all of his childhood stories. It's, you provided us with the opportunity to build our family. Um, and I'm just so grateful. Today, I haven't shared this with you yet. I am a week away from going to San Antonio and meeting my other first cousin and her son. So it's like a never-ending journey. One of my aunts was just in Dallas and invited me to the graduation for her daughter. So it's a blessing. It's the best way that I could say that. Um, so that's my story. I would like to show you a picture of me and my dad. Um, so this is my dad. We're about the same age here. Um, and I have the better hairline. I wish I could crack jokes with him, right? Um, but this is what really determined it all for me. Being able to see, hey man, I now know where my nose comes from, right? It's like I was wondering why the top of my head was so skinny. My mom's is if you look at the next page, my mom's head was not, skinny as that. So all of those things provided clarity. We're essentially the same height. My personality traits, who I am as a person, I'm very joyful. I joke a lot. I'm hearing all of these stories about who this guy was and how I became who I am, even without him being directly in my life. I know through biology, chromosomes, where I'm coming from. Um, the importance of fathers in everybody's lives. If my story isn't enough, I need you to know that we are needed. I I am the president of the Man in Me, and everything about our organization is about uplifting dads, uplifting men, so that we can have better families. Everything about my life and how I and how I operate my family within my home, how my daughters hear my voice and see me every day, how we play Uno games and board games, family game night, how we created a mission statement. Um, all of that is because of my lack of having a father. And it's also the reason why I work for a nonprofit. I'm on the board for two nonprofits. It's all about community work. It's created the trajectory of where my life is going. Um, that's my brother. My brother is 6'3", 6'4". He's towering over me, right? Um, but probably one of the top 10 funniest men I've ever met in my life. And I know that both of us get that from our dad. Um, so I just want to take a moment just to say thank you again. Um, I want to say thank you. I want to say this is how deep it is for me. I want to say not only thank you to you, but thank you to your mom who reached out to say, "Hey, I think we should connect with him more. I think we should connect with the man in me more. I think that we are all in alignment and we should be working together." Um, this is this is family. We've created family, and I really appreciate every single thing about discoverfamily.net. I have to say the whole thing. But
Thank
yeah,
you, Jason. I'd love to. When you reached out to us, you said, "Hey, you knew me as Jason Barfield, and I'm Jason Timmons now." Can you just tell that part of your story? I think it's so cool.
um, so even that within itself is a whole thing for me, right? So you hear about women getting divorced, but you don't see the back end of it all, right? So even with the name itself, and me saying I'm changing my last name from Bearfield to Timmons was the most important thing for me. So that meant that I had to go to the courthouse. Here's how it even got better. My cousin is the one that instructed me on how to do it because she had just found her father and she changed her last name. Um, so for me, it meant over 40 years of someone else's legacy, and I'm finally able to say Jason Timmons completed this task. Jason Timmons changed the community in this way. Um, that's something that I can't put words on, right? I can't put words to it because it's just remarkable. Just being able to have your own last name, something that you can pass down to your kids now. Yeah, but I will say it's I'm gonna tell you the other side. It's a little bit of a hassle if you're changing your last name, just a little bit. It's not much. It's not much, but once you change your email, that email is something serious. But having the email with your last name is even more. It's like I have my power now. It's like I felt powerless throughout my life, and now I'm empowered, stronger. I don't know how to. Yeah,
It's awesome.
that's a great question.
I've frequently had people say, this is the most emotion I've ever felt in my life. A lot of times it's a roller coaster. Jenny, she went on to create a blog called The Adopted Ride, and the logo's got a little roller coaster in it because ups and downs, and the excitement of finding it and then finding out that your birth father had passed away, so you wouldn't be able to meet him, at least in this life. Was that your experience too? Was this one of the most emotional things you've ever been through?
It was, but even you made me think, even though not even just for myself, right? So I reached out. I have three older, well, four now, but half brothers. And I was able to find their fathers and send them the information, and they were able to connect with those families. Like, this is, I don't even think you fully understand what you all do, because not only just with my three brothers, and now they have like all of the emotions. Now my uncle is calling, and I have all of these different cousins that are now saying, "Hey, how did you do it?" It's like we just pushed over the domino. We have the domino effect now. It's just it's so many emotions. You don't know, like you have the fears. Who will my dad be? Like, what's his personality? What is my brother's personality? Who like, can I trust them? All of that, because you're essentially bringing this new person into your life, but you know that this person, you're able to start new relationships and build new communication, and that's something that's it's just priceless. It's just priceless. My brother sends me prayers every single morning. Every morning. It doesn't matter what day. He sends them to Jasmine. He sends right, like this is the new connection. And you can't beat that.
I'm so grateful to hear, what it's done for your life. And just to talk a little bit technically, because I'm hoping a lot of people will watch this video, but the best place to get started is with an Ancestry DNA test. You just go to ancestry.com/DNA. They're on sale right now. We're close to Father's Day this Saturday. I think through Sunday, they'll be on sale. Once you get that test, or even before, you can go to discoverfamily.net, fill out our form requesting help. We're 100% volunteer. We're 100% free. We do have people who donate to us, and usually we're just using that money to buy DNA kits for people who can't afford it, or paying for the tools that we use to do our research. So, um, yeah, we are more than willing and ready and happy to help people to find their birth parents, or like I said, the majority of people we help are trying to find their birth father. You do the DNA test, we'll review and see if you have enough close matches to that we can open a case. And if we open a case, there's a 2 out of 3 chance that we'll solve it. So,
And
yeah.
fast. I want to say something that the owner of the Man in Me sent me. It's not just a name change. It's a soul acknowledgement, and I thought that was deep and profound. I really, because you really just can't put your name on it. I went from Bearfield searching for a guy named Michael Shelton. I even had issues with my family because we have Sheltons within the family. So I was trying to find my father through all of that, and I still could not find him in there. And then sometimes within the culture, people will not tell you the truth. I think one of the best things about this is simply that the DNA doesn't lie. So it removes those barriers of asking those questions and not receiving those answers, um, and just helping people become whole again. Like the man in me, I'm a whole man.
Awesome. All right.
You want to open it up to the chat? Or how you
Yeah.
feeling?
If you guys have questions specifically about doing a search, or a question for Jason and his experience, or whatever, there's a Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. You just hit that and you can type in a question. I think I can turn on chat as well too if people have questions there. But I think you've got some questions there, Jason. So I don't know if you want to.
I don't see questions.
Oh, sorry. I was talking about the common questions that we get.
I'm sorry. Yes, you're
There you go.
right. Well, actually, there's questions.
Okay, now they're popping up.
Another story
Oh, nice.
similar. That's from El Renee. Jennifer says, "Thank you for sharing your story, Jason. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate that."
Cool.
Um, I'm sorry, one moment there.
You bet.
Well, I guess one of the common questions is, and I think this would pertain to you. What questions should someone ask a newly discovered family member when they first meet?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when we've been able to confirm, using DNA, that's kind of the hard evidence, the concrete proof, and you start talking with somebody, I think a lot of times, I saw this with multiple stories where um, you want to kind of know everything all at once, right? You've had, especially somebody like Jenny, she wanted to know from sh when she was a little kid. She'd been thinking about her birth mom and her birth parents since she knew she was adopted. So when she makes that connection, like you just want to like, I want to know this and I want to know this and I want to know this and I think you've got to really just kind of temper your expectations first that I think it's hard sometimes for people to realize that person, especially the birth father, they might not even have known about your existence. So right from the beginning, you don't have any shared history, right? You don't have a background. There's not necessarily trust established there. So people are going to be pretty guarded just as as they are, right? And I think you've got to just be patient in talking and asking the questions, take the time, get to know them, just who they are, know about their lives, and build that trust to show, hey, I'm a trusted person. If you want to share personal things with me, that's okay. I think people kind of want to rush back to the scene of the crime. That's not a crime, but the scene of the incident, like, where have you been? What a lot of times people want to ask, like, if you would have known about me, what would have been different? But I would say, take the opportunity just to learn about their history, like where they came from, the stories about their parents and their family. What are their interests and things like that. Just as you would any other person, don't necessarily rush ahead to those really personal questions until you've established that relationship. Because again, you don't have a shared history, and you need to establish that trust before you can expect, trust questions that are going to be really deep and personal. So cool. We got more questions come in.
Ooh. Yes. I think that top one is for you. What happens when if you find your birth parents, but they don't want to be found and a reunion goes wrong?
Yeah, great question. So it I think in a lot of cases people feel, especially with adoption, people feel like they were rejected. There was something wrong with me. I was rejected for a reason. They didn't want me, and that can happen again. They call it like the second rejection if you're, I would say, almost too aggressive about the outreach. um, I usually find birth parents are kind of on a spectrum. Like on this side of the spectrum is we've, messaged birth moms and they're like, yes, I want to talk to her right now. Give me her number. I've been waiting. decades for this phone call and to talk with her. That's like one side of the spectrum. On the other side, we've had some pretty horrible responses where, I mean, just to be honest, one person said like, I should have thrown that piece of trash away, or, things like that. Or a lot of times they're in some of the, what I would say, like saddest responses have been like, the nuns told me that they would never find out or no one would ever know. And, I'm a Christian and this will ruin me if people find out I had a baby. So there is that risk. So I think the outreach, you have to be really delicate. We typically recommend reaching out directly to the person so the message goes only to them, not to another family member. And then you can simply first ask for medical history. I mean, in most cases, no one's going to deny, okay, I'll give you medical history, or family history so you have that information. Um, you can ask, for clarity, but I think in a lot of situations, like people, placed for adoption or weren't able to be there for a reason, and it's probably better for that person not to. So I try and prepare people before the outreach to let them know about that spectrum. And it is so important just to have a safety net, right? Of people who know about your search, know about your journey, and can be there no matter what the response is. I would say that's very rare, probably a low percentage have a bad experience like that, if you want to call it bad, but that's a reality that you just have to prepare for. So I think going back to the question, what happens is hopefully you've prepared for that. You've kind of prepared your heart for that. But even at that, I would say almost every case, I'm trying to think of one where this hasn't happened, we find another family member who is interested in having a connection, who is open and able to connect. Like that happens in almost every case. Like sometimes it's not the birth parent, it's like an aunt or a cousin or somebody else that's interested in still having a connection and be there. In fact, in one of the pictures that I showed in my presentation where it had all the family pictures, um, birth dad didn't want anything to do with the person, but the rest of the family like literally embraced her, and it was just a beautiful experience. So it's not always what you expect, but just being prepared for that, and again having a safety net of other people who are helping you in the search, or at least there to support you no matter what the results are. Hopefully that answers your question. Cool. So we got another question. Do you want me to read it or?
So El Renee Johnson says, I was adopted by my maternal grandparents and found my dad 5 years ago online. Reached out, but no response. Definitely expectations.
Yes, so I'd say if you're reaching out online, typically that's through Facebook or Ancestry.com. You can message people there as well. I would say, like, honestly, probably 90% of the time, maybe even 95% of the time, people just don't respond. They don't see the message. They don't they don't necessarily know how to do it. So we don't give up. If we're helping somebody reach out, we don't give up if they don't respond to Facebook or they don't respond to an ancestry message. We're typically trying to send a certified letter. We're trying to find phone numbers and leave voice messages. We typically keep trying to go at it until we get a response, and we'll even say that in our message, like, hey, if you don't want to talk right now, that's fine, but let us know. We're going to keep trying to reach out to you until we connect. And we're not usually saying like, hey, we found your birth daughter or something like that. We're just saying, hey, we're a family researcher. We'd love to connect with you. That kind of thing. Um, and just keep pushing until we get some kind of response. Yeah, because digitally it usually doesn't. So if you want to reach out to us, was it Johnson? Miss
El
Johnson?
Renee Johnson.
Yeah, we definitely happy to try and help you if you still want to reach out to them. We do have other methods. The next question was, have any cases used a private investigator? Yes, we do have a partner. So all of our services are free. We don't charge for our services. We do have a private investigator who we recommend. Her name's Renee. She's in Missouri. She does amazing work, has tools that we don't have access to. as a private investigator, and very professional, and I would say very affordable. So we definitely have, we typically at that point we're referring the case or that person to work with her directly. But yeah, private investigators, super talented, have a lot of resources that just the general public doesn't have access to. It's a good question. Right.
Do one more common question.
Yeah.
Just FAQ. How has discovering your roots changed the way you parent? Uh, I would say for me, it's I think even before the finding my father, because of the absence of a father, I needed to be extremely involved in everything that they did. But also just, and it also led me to being like life coach and researching like, or getting into a relationship with a therapist. And now my head is just, all right, we cognitive development. What are we doing here? But it made me just way more intentional with my why, and my purpose of being a father. It's the reason why I introduced myself to the owner of the Man in Me the very first day. It was because I wanted to become a better father. I thought I was an amazing father, and then I placed myself through the 8-week program of cultivating fathers, and I left that program even better, right? Just from a financial standpoint of budgeting to being able to speak with um, different resources. It was a very amazing program for me. So I would say it made me a lot more intentional, and also made me listen more, allowing them to have a voice, hearing, but then also making sure that in every single step that I'm advocating. We have a family saying in here that we only tell the truth. We don't lie to each other ever. Um, and I've noticed that even with this, they have questions about who my dad was and all of that process. So it even I would say it even brought the family closer together.
Awesome. If I could just add, two big events really trigger people to reach out to us. I mean, people reach out to us at all different stages of life, and but there's two common times that we get people reaching out when they have a child themselves. So when a mother is giving birth to her first child and she wants to know about her birth mom or birth father, uh, that time something I feel like changes and motivates people to be like, I want to know who they are and they went through this with me. I want to connect with them or I want to understand who it is. So we see that a lot. And the next one is people later in life, typically in their 50s, when either the adopted parents who raised them or the person who raised them passes away, and they just feel like they just lost an anchor, right? And they start really questioning their biological roots and where they came from because they just lost that connection that they had. Um, so I see that as definitely affecting what kind of person and parent you are and grandparent that you want to be. Just wanting to know and having that curiosity and not really, not giving up to do whatever it takes. I mean, I've talked to people who are like, man, I was searching all night long, and then right before morning, like I found your website and I filled out the form. So I see that just curiosity and that drive in people, and I think it makes them a better parent just because the parent that they wanted wasn't there, and they don't even know who it is. So I think it makes it more tangible in that sense. So in the same way, my wife and I, we've got 4 kids adopted through foster care, but there were 9 years from when we got married to win our first child, that we adopted our first child. It was 9 years. And I tell you what, that was 9 years of wanting to be a parent to where we finally got our kids. I know that made me a better parent having that 9 years of waiting. So, yeah, just a couple thoughts there.
Wow. I feel like we need another webinar so we can hear your story.
Yeah.
I did want to add on to one of the questions from earlier. I want to say that I live by and my family live by you can only control yourself. So I went into it all understanding that if rejection happened, it's outside of my control. So that allowed me to just allow it because not everybody responded. And that made it okay for me because I did what I needed to do. It was the only thing that I could control, which was reaching out. So I do want to say that just in case if you have any fear, um, always allow yourself, I encourage you to just reach out anyway, just to find out. You never know.
Right. Awesome.
We have about 2 minutes left. Um, I want to say thank you to Troy. I want to say thank you to Troy and the team. Um, First off, just once again receiving messages from your mom. That was so endearing. I just want to say thank you to everything that you do. Thank you for providing or shining light on that dark areas for the people that are live with us, but also will be viewing this later. Um, you, you, you and your angels, y'all are amazing. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Well, thank you, Jason. I love this work, and I think I can speak for everyone on our team that this is just where our heart is. There's something magical and truly beautiful about just helping someone do something they can't do themselves, right? And I wish I could spend all day, every day working on this, and maybe one day I can, but I know there's a lot more Jasons and Jennies and people out there needing help. So we're just gonna keep keep working away at it. And right now, we don't have any cases in the queue. Like literally, most of my search angels are sitting on their hands right now. So we're ready for more cases. If you know someone, go ahead and share this webinar with them, share our website. We are ready and willing to help as many people as we can.
I will say the same. If you know of any fathers, any men that are looking to grow professionally, to grow internally, like physically, mentally, emotionally, then please have them go to themandinme.org and just fill out the contact us page. Take a while to just look around. We do have a couple of events coming. I know that this Saturday we're doing Ironbound, which is a ruck march for all men. We're going to do a 5K as if we were in the military. I'm gonna get out there with my old military body. I'm going to get out there. I'll be there. And then also at the end of the month, July 28th, if you're all of this is in the Austin area, but if you're in the Austin area, please come out to Family Day at the Park. If you have any questions, please let us know and we can send that information to you, or you can reach out to us on social media.
So
One more thing, Troy's background is real.
thanks.
Um,
Confirmed. You can see yeah, this is my office.
um, but that's it. Troy, I want to thank you. Oh, I want to thank you for your time.
Isaac's just asking if we've got
Ooh,
more webinars in the works. So yeah, I don't know if we have one scheduled, but stay tuned.
we can make it happen. Um, so yeah, thank you for your time, Troy. Thank you all for attending. Please don't forget that if you registered, you are automatically registered for the raffle. for a free DNA test kit. Um, and have a good
All right, thanks for that.
day.